the two best teams in the AFC and the NFC have declared themselves. The Los Angeles Rams survive a Chicago snowstorm and defeat Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and move on to play the NFC West champions, the number one seed in the NFC, and looking like a juggernaut, an unstoppable force, the Seattle Seahawks, who so warmed the San Francisco 49ers. And on the other side, the Denver Broncos accepted Josh Allen into Mile High. And they came out victorious, but not without maybe, just maybe, losing the war. The Denver Broncos will host the AFC Championship. Against the greatest, most iconic, best, everybody's favorite empire has returned from the darkness of the days of washed Bill Belichick, Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones, and Damiere Byrd. With Matt Patricia at OC, it didn't take long for the greatest franchise in all of modern sports, your New England Patriots, my New England Patriots, have returned. Home. The New England Patriots will play in the AFC Championship game at a familiar place, the sights and sounds of Mile High, against a familiar face, Jared Stidham. It will be Maye. It will be Stidham. Two quarterbacks drafted by the Patriots in the AFC Championship, because Bo Nix has been knocked right out of the playoffs. We'll talk about that, don't worry. But first, I want to talk about the final game. Excuse my voice. As I went through about 13, 14 hours of streaming this weekend, my voice will make it. I promise you that. If I could promise one thing, I will promise you that. And if you can promise me one thing, you should promise me this. Gronk, spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. You're welcome to be a Patriot hater all you want. I welcome all you haters. Step right up. We're gonna knock you down. Gronk, spike the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, your reactions, your opinions on NFL Divisional Round 2026. Do it now, jabroni. Do it now. I'll give you a second. Let's begin with the Los Angeles Rams 20, the Chicago Bears 17. This game played in the chilly, snowy, windy city of Chicago. The Rams, the Bears, in a lower scoring affair than anticipated. This was a 10-10 game at halftime. The game ended regulation at 17-17, and the Rams persevered in overtime for the win. The Rams will go to Seattle to take on the Seahawks in a rematch, a third game for Seattle against the Rams. Now let's break it down. And guys, I'm not one of those recap shows that just sits here and I'm all boring. I talk about this play and that play and this route and that route, bro. No, I give you my opinion. I give you my thoughts. I give you my, in all honest, feelings. This channel, this show, this video is about what does Mitch feel? Yes, it's very deep. I'm a very emotional guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So what do I feel about this game? I feel, first of all, that both of these coaches absolutely sucked. First of all, we got Ben Johnson. Ben, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you're aware. I know you come from Detroit. But Ben, you're allowed to kick a field goal. And I'm surprised that no one has talked about this. Considering, my basic math. Guys, I wasn't very good at math. I don't know if you know this. I know I'm a very intelligent human being. I'm a very intelligent man. I know that. But my weakness, my flaw, I'm not great at math. I can count my bets. I can count some stats. I'm not very good at math. I only went to grade 11, bro. I stopped at grade 11. I said, this ain't for me. I got to go write some papers. I got to go talk into a camera. Okay? I wasn't good at math. But the math says this. 1, 2, 3. Interesting. The Chicago Bears, on the first drive of the game, tied 0-0, drove down the field. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Chicago Bears walked down the field. And at the 21-yard line of the Rams, they had an opportunity to go up in the game, 3-0. A team that is horrible, downright horrendous in the first half of games, had a chance to simply tack on a little field goal at the beginning, take a little pressure off you, feel a little situated, get into the game, take the restlessness off of you, take the chip off your shoulder, right? Feel good about your start to this game. The Chicago Bears drive to the Rams' 21-yard line. They go for it. They throw an interception. The first of 3. We'll talk about that. But point being, guys, again, I wasn't very good at math. I am not very good at math. But 1, 2, 3. The game ended 20-17. The regulation ended 17-17. Would the Bears not have won this game in regulation if they kicked a field goal on the first drive of the game like I said they should have? And don't give me, Mitch, you didn't say shit. No, bro. I'm live for every single game. You can see me saying kick the field goal. In fact, I probably said something like this: kick the field goal, jabroni. Take the points. It's early. It's the first drive. You haven't even seen the game declare itself. And by declare itself, yes, we all anticipated it would be a high-scoring game. The Rams got a good offense. The Bears got a good offense. The Bears' defense is not very good. It's bottom 5. But that bottom 5 unit actually played their tails off in this game. And it just so happens that a field goal, or maybe 2 or 3, would have helped the Bears win this game. The reason the Bears lost, it all begins on the first drive. The Bears outplayed the Rams. I really believe they did. They had more first downs. They were better on third down. They had more plays. They had more yards, 417 to 340. They had a higher yards per play. They had more rushing yards. They had even more penalties. And they held the Rams to 3.6 yards per rush. But the Bears were 3 for 6 on fourth down. 3 for 6. 3 for 6. And they threw 3 interceptions. That is 6 turnovers. Think about it. The Bears lost this game because they turned it over 6 times. So despite having more first downs, more yards, and more time of possession, the Bears turned it over 6 times. 6 times. That's why they lost. The opening drive, go up 3-0. Take your points. Live to fight another day. Allow the game to declare itself. If it becomes a shootout, it becomes a shootout. But it's not like you can't overcome. If it's 7-3, you can't overcome it. Take your field goal. The Rams go and score a touchdown, and they don't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter after that. The Bears, again later in the first half, drive to the Ram 32-yard line, and they get stuffed on 4th and 1. Now, I agree with this one. I agree with the decision to go for it because it was at the 32 of the Rams in the snow. And the snow at this time was coming down. And that's a long kick. And I understand why you would want to go for that on 4th and 1. You also haven't declared that you can't run in short yardage that often in this game yet. But it became a trend. They couldn't do it on that play, 4th and 1. Later in the game, they get stopped at the Rams' 2-yard line. So they get stopped 3 times. We add that up, let's just say 3 field goals each. That's 9 points. The Bears win this game in regulation with 9 points. 9 points, in fact, would have given you cushion. Just saying. But the reason the Bears lost, I agree with the decision to go for the second and the third time. I think that was the right call, the second and the third time. The first one was really costly. I think they should have taken a field goal. Then after that, 3 interceptions. None bigger than the one in overtime, where Caleb Williams is wildly inaccurate. And his flaws shined in this game. His promise, his potential, his prowess also shined. That throw to Cole Kmet that everyone's going to talk about, and everyone would have gone on soliloquies and tirades, and they would have built a statue for Caleb if that would have been the game-winning play, which it very easily could have been if Ben Johnson would have kicked a fucking field goal on the first drive. But that's besides the point. The biggest point is Caleb wildly inaccurately throws a ball for an interception in overtime that costs him the game. Horrible pass. The Bears convert a 4th and 1. They're on their way to scoring, and a wildly inaccurate pass sets them up for the loss. And he did it multiple times. He missed open receivers all day in easy spots. And that one was costly because it was a bad pass that landed in the opponent's hands. 3 interceptions to 0. Interception on 4th down's not all that bad. Now, it was a horrible throw. It was a terrible pass. That's why it was intercepted. The last one, a horrible throw, a terrible pass. That's why it was intercepted. He had some really inaccurate moments in this game. He was 23 for 42. Now, he was also brilliant in moments. He made some key scrambles near the end, 5 for 40. He made some rocket launcher throws downfield. He made some nice plays out of structure. He made some nice plays off play action boot. The Bears ran the ball. I thought Swift had a good game. 76 yards. Monongai, not so much. They ran the ball better than the Rams. Kyron had 87 yards on 21 attempts. I was puzzled as to why Corum didn't get more touches. 6 for 19. But the Bears outplayed the Rams here. It was the turnovers that did them in. The Bears defense, which was one of the worst in the league against the run and the pass, held Matthew Stafford to below 50% completion, 258 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but no touchdowns. They sacked him 4 times. The Rams sacked Caleb 0 times. Now, that's partly because of Caleb's elusiveness. But the Bears were a more effective pass rushing team in this game than the Rams. Think about that for a second. Think about that. The Bears played better defense. They probably played better offense. But they didn't give themselves a chance to win with all their mistakes. 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers. And what else do I got to say? I thought Colston Loveland was a bit disappointing in this game. 10 targets on only 4 catches on the 10 targets. Some of them were inaccurate, some of them were off. But still, I thought he would have a bigger impact. DJ Moore had 5 for 52 and a touchdown on 8 targets. Rome Odunze made 1 incredible catch in the game. He had only 2 on 6 targets. Notice all these targets and not completions. Luther Burden made the most of some touches, but I thought both coaches offensively did not impress me. Both quarterbacks were wildly inconsistent with their accuracy and their ball placement. But both coaches were not impressive. I thought that Sean McVay's game plan, Sean McVay's performance play calling wise against Dennis Allen, he got owned for most of the game. I thought the Bears defense completely shut down the Rams for large portions of this game. I thought the Rams were incapable of converting on 3rd down. They were incapable of creating explosive plays. They weren't really that great running the ball today. And Stafford was rattled. And what was the Bears' plan? It was exactly what I thought it would be. It was exactly what they did to the Packers in the second half last week. It's exactly what I thought they should do. Man coverage, blitz. Man coverage, blitz, and occasionally show a simulated zone look. Simulated pressure where you drop out and you go to zone. That was basically the Bears' game plan the whole game. They stopped the run fairly well. Against the Rams, 31 carries, 111 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt. That's great. That's great run defense. That's the best run defense all year by the Bears. 22 incompletions to 20 completions. That's the best game all year by the Bears against Matthew Stafford, an MVP candidate. Likely for a lot of people, the MVP. So, to me, I thought McVay did very little to help his guys get open. There was a couple good play calls. I thought on that gotta have it, third down, the Bears, we knew they were going to blitz. Puka got open underneath. They converted that to get them into field goal range for Mevis, and they won the game. That nice little motion play on the fourth down for Puka, that was a huge play. But I also thought that McVay was very conservative. In regulations, on 3rd and 10, you throw the ball there and you get the first down and you win the game. Instead, they run the ball. It gets to the 2-minute. He punts it away. Caleb makes that insane throw, and they nearly lost the game because of McVay's decision. And then there was another third down where he was conservative later on. I felt like the Rams were fortunate. The Rams were fluky a bit. Now, I thought they outperformed the Bears for most of the fourth and overtime. And I thought their defense came through time after time after time. But you don't want to be counting on your defense in all those high leverage moments. They got away with one here. They got away with one because Caleb threw a really bad ball to the Rams on, a play that he easily could have thrown it away. So, I was not impressed. I thought the Rams would walk into Chicago and put up 30, despite the weather. The weather wasn't ideal, and it looked like the Rams were fragile to that weather. They weren't cutting at full speed. They weren't running at full speed. They were scared to run their routes. Stafford, the ball was flying everywhere. The run game wasn't overpowering. But the defense did step up. I give them credit. Outside of their pass rush, which they did nothing, I thought their run defense was good, and I thought their coverage was excellent. That one Kobe Durant interception was very, very nice, and they got nothing out of that. They got nothing out of it. So, what else do I got to say? I've just been disappointed by the Rams. Ever since that Falcons game, Stafford's been playing like total butt cheek. I don't know how you watch Stafford right now and argue that's the MVP of football. Like, truly. I love Matthew Stafford. I've always loved Matthew Stafford. I think he was a Hall of Famer before people were calling him a Hall of Famer. And you guys know that if you follow this channel. He has not played well. He's not controlled the ball well. He's not made good decisions. He continues to make 1, 2, 3, 4, what the F was that throw every game. McVay didn't seem to trust him throughout portions of this game. Puka Nacua was getting absolutely shut down by Kyler Gordon at that nickel spot. 5 catches on 10 targets for Puka Nacua for only 56 yards is one heck of a job by the Bears. I thought Jalen Johnson completely erased Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams had 2 catches, 2 for 24 on 6 targets. That's it. He looks slow. And overall, I think the formula is there for teams to beat the Rams. Man coverage. Mix up your rush and play man coverage and stop the run. If you can stop the run, play man coverage, you're good to go. Will the Seahawks do that? We will see. The Rams have had the Seahawks defense's number now. McVay has had Mike McDonald's number. Maybe Seattle weather will help Seattle. That would certainly help. The Rams looked very, very fragile. The Bears outperformed them, but they turned it over 6 times. 3 field goals that they could have had, not capitalize on. And if not field goals, touchdowns. If you convert those. So, a rather fluky game where it felt like the Rams were playing large portions conservatively, safe, trying to survive. And the Rams were fortunate. Stafford didn't throw a pick, which was crazy that he didn't. Stafford fumbled twice, and neither was gathered by the Bears. That was fortunate. So the Bears had their turnovers. The Rams luckily didn't. I thought the Rams defense played well. I thought Cameron Curl with a big interception at the end. 13 tackles led the team. I thought that Quentin Lake played well. I thought that Kobe Durant played really well outside of that touchdown he allowed to Cole Kmet, which was bad. But I thought he played a good game. They lost, what's his name? The corner. Forbes early in the game. That hurt. But I thought their secondary played decent. I thought Brisker played phenomenal for the Bears. Edmonds had actually a pretty good game. I thought Byard had a good game. Kyler Gordon had a great game. Jalen Johnson had a great game. I thought that the old man there, Grady Jarrett, had a couple plays. But, yeah, my overall story is the Rams have been this team touted as Super Bowl favorites for weeks on end. They beat the worst team in the playoffs by 3. The Rams, Panthers. I think it was by 3, right? I don't remember. But they beat the Panthers barely. Last drive of the game. They beat the Bears, an extremely flawed football team, in my opinion. An extremely flawed Bears team. 20-17. And they're limping their way to the NFC Championship because neither of those teams are on the level of Seattle. Seattle is much better defensively than either of these teams. Seattle has a much better pass rush. By far, that's the biggest difference. Now, the Rams, the reason you got to have faith in the Rams is they have the better quarterback. They have the better offense. And their defense matches up well with Sam Darnold. And they do match up well with the Seahawks. Maybe they don't match up well with Chicago. They certainly don't with Carolina. We know that to be the case. But if you're looking at this, I don't know how you wouldn't be smiling if you're a Seahawks fan or a Seahawks coach defensively, knowing that we've seen a formula work against this Rams offense for the first time all year. And it's a rather simple one. Can we replicate it? Because 2 bad defenses, the stretches where they were very good, were man-to-man covering these teams, covering these receivers, the Rams, getting stops with blitzes, getting pressure on Stafford, making him antsy, making him jittery, and making him throw tight window passes. And I'm not impressed by the Rams. I think I'm actually going to pick them probably against Seattle. I don't know. We'll see. I think this is a matchup thing. I think the Rams match up really well with Seattle. But there's no question they're the worst team entering this game. There's no question they're playing worse. And there's no question they have played 2 suspect teams. I give the Bears a lot of credit. I thought the Bears came to play defensively. But in a lot of ways, in the high leverage moments, their offense failed them. Because the Rams had not been playing well on defense either. And if the Bears could find a way to run the ball a bit better on 4th and short, they win this game. Short yardage won this game for the Rams. Short yardage. A 4th down and 1. A 4th down and 2 stop. A couple plays that if the Bears get it, they probably win this game by 10. So, was not impressed by either coach. Both quarterbacks had their ups and downs. I thought Caleb outperformed Stafford. I thought he handled the conditions better. I thought he actually played better, despite the 3 interceptions. Stafford did not play well, despite no touchdowns, no interceptions. Caleb had the 3 picks. I thought Caleb played better. The Bears, I thought, ran the ball. I thought both teams ran the ball fairly evenly, but I thought the Bears had more explosives. I thought the Bears' playmakers played better than the Rams. But the Bears still lost. Still lost. And I'm glad, because I don't think the Bears and Seahawks would have been all that competitive. I'm glad we're getting Rams and Seahawks because those are the two best teams in the NFC right now. So 20-17 Rams. Next, let's talk about their opponent. Guys, if you haven't already, Gronk spiked the like button. I am desperately trying to hold on to my voice here. 41-6 Seattle over San Francisco. This game declared itself very, very early. Now, I said that I thought the Niners would compete in this game. Now, I picked Seattle. I did say I thought San Francisco had a chance. What gave them no chance was the beginning of this game. You can't be on the road with 5 days rest, the less talented team, Seattle being at home, one of the loudest environments in football, one of the most momentum-fueled environments in football, and you can't fall behind 17-0 in the first. And the reason that happened is Rashid Shaheed, first play of the game, touchdown on a kick return. That was absolutely massive. It uncorked that stadium. The place blew up. They were on fire. They were screaming. They were going nuts. After that, San Francisco gets the ball on their first drive. They get stopped on a fourth down after what looked like an illegal timeout by Mike McDonald. The ref signaled a timeout after the 49ers got the fourth down conversion and were in Seattle territory. They said, no, there was a timeout. Then Kyle outsmarts himself, calls a funky read option with Kyle Juszczyk and Christian McCaffrey, which fails. Seattle takes that, and they go, and they get more points. And then the Niners once again look like they're going to start moving the ball. They fumble the ball. Jake Tonjes fumbles the ball. That gets another touchdown on the board. So it's 17-0 like that. The less talented team, the beat-up team, the team that had less rest, the team that was the underdog. You can't start that way and win against this good of a team, this good of a defense. It's impossible. The game script completely imploded. The game script completely allowed Seattle to play the way they wanted to play, to dictate the pace of the game, to destroy the Niners. And that's what happened. That's what happened. It was 24-6 at halftime. Game was over. Okay? Now, I thought in the first half, the Niners were actually moving the ball a little bit. Like, I thought that they actually got some more success than they did in week 18. It felt like they were actually going to start, like, moving the ball and scoring some points. And I actually thought early it could have maybe declared into a little bit of a back and forth. But because of the Seahawks gathering so much momentum, the place was going nuts, the pass rush was starting to tee off, and the Niners were starting to give up. Quite honestly. Like, on that first drive for San Francisco, they get to Seattle's 40 and they don't get it. The second drive, they fumble the ball. That gives the Seahawks a 10-0 lead. San Francisco then drives, what was that? Okay. Hold on. So touchdown, downs, field goal. Then the Niners fumble. That leads to another touchdown. That's the end of the first quarter. It's 17-0. Then the Niners actually do drive down and get a field goal. They kick a field goal on 4th and 3. Maybe they should have gone for it there. You could have considered that. Then the Seahawks actually punt. They go 3 and out. San Francisco gets a 10-play, 57-yard drive for another field goal. So 2 straight field goal drives. Then Seattle, there was a defensive holding call, which was huge in this game. So it was 17-6. Then there was a defensive holding on a 3rd and 1 that was stuffed. After that defensive holding, Seattle drives down and scores a touchdown to make it 24-6. It very easily could have been 17-6. Niners with the ball. Niners with a chance to make it a 1-score game going into halftime. Instead, it's 24-6. That's the game. A kick return, a turnover, a failed fourth down, and a penalty that extends a drive on a third down. Too much for a less talented team, a big dog, to overcome. Not even the coach of the year, not even Kyle Shanahan could overcome that. And I'll say this about the Niners. They've clearly got their butt whooped by Seattle in the last two meetings on that side of the ball and on both sides of the ball. I thought what was especially disappointing from San Francisco was their defensive effort. I'm not surprised the way that the game went that Seattle was able to stifle their offense. But for Seattle to basically roll out there and run their Week 18 game plan, run outside zone, run the ball, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet eventually got hurt. Walker doing whatever he wanted. And Robert Saleh to not adjust. To not do anything from a front perspective, from a blitz perspective, from a creativity perspective, to adjust, to find a wrinkle in the game plan to give them an early edge. It just felt like Seattle was running their day one install offense and they were just shredding the San Francisco 49ers. So clearly, the Niners did not have the Joes. This was not a game of X's and O's. A lot of people are making that out to be. This is a game of Jimmies and Joes. Seattle has the Jimmies and Joes right now in that matchup, especially with all the injuries of San Francisco. For goodness sake, San Francisco doesn't have 3 Hall of Famers in their first round pick. But I just expected more from the X's and O's of San Francisco. I actually thought Kyle kind of found something in the first half. And then in the second half, I'm not sure if Seattle adjusted or the game was too far out of reach where Brock Purdy started to panic, which kind of did happen. I actually thought Purdy played kind of good in this game. I thought that for what he was faced with, pressure, good tight coverage, not having all his weapons, not having a productive run game, I thought that the Niners, Brock Purdy actually made some nice extension plays. And then there would be like a drop or something, or a fumble. As soon as Purdy would gain some momentum or create something, they would kill themselves. They would shoot themselves in the foot. So, Seattle, it's not like they had an incredible offensive game. At halftime, San Francisco I think they had the same amount of yards, and it was 24-6. It might have been actually the Niners had more yards. But Seattle, 281 yards. They had how many drives that started in San Francisco territory or near midfield? How many drives? Because how the game went. You know what I'm saying? It made this game feel like a total lost cause. They got a kick return. Then the field goal drive was at Seattle's 43-yard line. Then the fumble, they got the ball at San Francisco's 40. Then what else? A field goal drive at the 42 of San Francisco to begin the third quarter. Then an interception at San Francisco's 42, which gave them another touchdown. So in the first 3 quarters, and then a touchdown drive, they got the ball at the 47 of San Francisco. So 1, 2, 3. No. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 4 drives at the 50 or better in the first half. Yeah, no wonder this was a blowout. And I'd rather see a team do this than what I saw from Houston punting the ball with 4 minutes left in that game. Down by 2 scores. Houston pussied out. Houston gave up. Houston threw up the white flag. San Francisco, at least they went down swinging. 41-6, who cares? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was an ass kicking. Seattle ran all over them. They did whatever they wanted. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Sam Darnold was great. The Seahawks offense is so impressive. Their defense is awesome. Their defense is phenomenal. And clearly they have the Niners number. But part of the difficulty with calculating Seattle is that they've only played San Francisco the last 2 weeks. And it's hard to know if they just really own this matchup or if they're really this good. And part of me believes it's the first. Because San Francisco has the worst defensive line in the league. They have the worst pass rush in the league. Seattle clearly knows how to foil their offense. They had the special teams big play to start the game, which got the crowd going nuts. Walker ran all over San Francisco, and that sets up Seattle to have success in the pass game. And Darnold was efficient. 12 for 17, 124 and a touchdown, but it's not like anything he did really was super impressive. JSN only had 3 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown. Walker had 3 tutties, and he dominated the game again. And the defense dominated the game. But I think to sit here and say Seattle's going to walk their way to a championship, it's hard for me to suggest that or say that because they've only played the Niners the last 2 games. And if they get tested by a better pass rush, maybe the Rams got that to make Sam uncomfortable. A better run defense that they'll certainly face, rather now or in the Super Bowl. How would that go? And potentially an offense that better suits the style that you need to play to attack Seattle. Part of the problem with the 49ers offense is they rather can't hold up in protection, don't have the balance from their run game necessary, or they don't have the speed or verticality to scare Seattle. And it collapses the whole defense and makes everything easy on Seattle to make those stops. So, credit to Seattle. They dominated. They were the better team. They proved me wrong once again. They beat the crap out of their rival, the Niners. I felt bad watching this game for the Niners. I felt bad watching all the injuries. There was a stretch in the game where Tonjes gets hurt, then McCaffrey gets hurt, and you're like, this is a comedy. This team sponsors the blue tent for how many injuries they get. I hope the Niners return next year, healthier unit. I wish this team was healthy, but that being said, Seattle looks like the most complete team in the NFC. The question is, are they the best? We're going to have to see how they play against the Rams, a team they split with and were nearly identical with in the regular season, yardage-wise, points-wise, all of it. 1-1. Game 3 decides it. Decides the series. But this was a tough watch as someone that likes the Niners. It was a tough watch. Okay, let's continue. The Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. 33-30 Broncos win over the Bills in a emotional game. A highly debated, a infamous, a interesting overtime end game. Sitting here before I read the stats, I thought that the team that won was not the better team in the game, for the most part. I thought the team that won this game, the Denver Broncos, not trying to take credit away from Denver. I'm trying not to. I'm serious. I thought the reason they won is because of turnovers. Not because of the refs. I thought the reason they won is because of the Bills' mistakes. The Bills did not punt in the game once. The Bills did not punt in the game. Now, I think the biggest thing that surprised me about this game was how well Denver's offense performed. Specifically, how they performed and the way they attacked. If you would have told me before the game that Bo Nix would be the leading rusher of the Denver Broncos with 29 yards, I would have said Denver got destroyed. The game was 34-13 for Buffalo. That is not what happened. Bo Nix attempted 46 passes, 26 completions, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and an 87 passer rating. The only interception, a fat man interception on a simulated pressure by the rookie D tackle of the Bills. The Broncos went against a lot of people's idea of how you attack Buffalo. Run the ball. Buffalo has a bottom 3 run defense in football. Denver did anything but that. Now, they did use their passing game as an extension of the run. They threw a lot of quick passes, a lot of screens, and they tried to get to the perimeter a lot. But Bo Nix, I thought, had one of his best games I've seen him play. Honestly, I thought Bo Nix played really, really well. I thought he made some really nice throws. He did make some misses. He did miss some throws, but I thought in a big moment, every single time they needed him to come through, the deep ball in the fourth quarter, one-on-one with the backup Dane Jackson, early in the game before halftime on a shot play, a 17-point second quarter, Denver was on fire. They didn't run the ball. McLaughlin had 5 yards per carry on 4 attempts. RJ Harvey had 6 attempts. That's it. The Broncos won this game on the arm of Bo Nix, which I didn't think I would say. And he was sacked 0 times. He avoided a lot of negative plays. And he took better care of the ball than Josh Allen. Josh Allen was intercepted twice. Now, one of them was highly debatable. He also fumbled. A huge fumble before halftime, which was by far the biggest mistake of the game. The Bills gave up 3 points when it was highly unlikely that the Bills were going to be able to get points themselves. They handed 3 points to the Denver Broncos in this game before halftime, which ultimately, guys, Ben Johnson, this game was decided by what? I'm not good at math. 3 points. So, Josh Allen, he's not wrong when he said, crying at the podium, I let down my team. I feel like I let down my team. Now, is it the reason that is Josh Allen the reason they lost? Not really. I thought he was pretty good in this game throwing the football. 283 yards, 25 for 39, considering who he has at receiver, considering what defense he's playing, considering the venue, considering the pressure. I thought Allen actually played pretty well throwing the football. But his ball handling, his recklessness at times, costly. The Bills kind of did whatever they wanted on offense, which is why I say the Bills were the better team in this game, I thought. To me, the Broncos won because they didn't turn it over. They only turned it over once, and Buffalo turned it over, 4 times? How many times they turn it over? I'm checking the stats. 5 times. 5 times. Not including 4th downs. 5 times. Guys, you don't win playoff games on the road turning the ball over 5 times. 5. 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. You don't win playoff games. The better team lost this game because they were reckless with the football. 449 yards to 349 yards for Buffalo. 28 first downs to 22 first downs for Buffalo. 10 for 15 on third down. 1 for 1 on fourth down. They held Denver 1 for 4 in the red zone. They held possession 40-29. Anyone who thought Buffalo was going to win this game absolutely was right about the calculation. Absolutely was right about the handicap. The reason you lost your bet, the reason the Bills lost this game, the reason the Denver Broncos won is because of the Bills' turnovers. Period. The Broncos could not stop the Bills. 449 yards. They couldn't stop him on the ground. James Cook had a good game running the ball despite his fumble. 24 for 117, 4.9 yards per carry. Josh Allen, 12 carries, 66 yards, 5.5 yards per carry. That's 36 carries for 183 yards, 5 yards a carry. They threw the ball for 283 yards. Kincaid had 6 for 83 and a touchdown. Shakir had 7 for 75. Think about it this way. How many games did the Bills lose when Josh Allen throws 3 touchdowns, 280 yards, James Cook rushes for 100 yards, Josh Allen rushes for 60 yards, Kincaid has 80 yards, Shakir has 70 yards. Those are all the Bills' best players. How many games do the Bills lose when Josh Allen does that, when James Cook does that, when Dalton Kincaid does that, and when Khalil Shakir does that? The only reason they lost is because they fumbled the ball 3 times. Period. Now, in overtime, I thought Brandon Cooks caught the ball. I was live. I thought he caught the ball. I still thought he caught the ball. I thought that was a bad call. The pass interferences. Teron Johnson, Tre'Davious White. My problem with the Teron Johnson one is this. Earlier in the game, I think late fourth quarter, the Bills throw a fade to the end zone to Brandon Cooks. Riley Moss is holding his arm. There's no call in the end zone. But later in the game, Teron Johnson is holding the arm of a receiver, Marvin Mims, I believe. That is called PI. I just don't know the difference between the two. I don't understand why one was called and one wasn't. I also agree with Sean McDermott. In that moment in overtime, there's no reason to hurry up there and get through the process of declaring that an interception. Take your time. Review the play. Show all the replays. Let everybody know why you made this decision. Then get back to the game. It's the most important decision in the game. It's the most important play. If Brandon Cooks catches that ball, the game's over. They kick a field goal, it's over. You have to take your time with that. You can't just speed through it. Marvin Mims, 8 catches on 8 targets, 93 yards and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, 4 for 53. He had a big one against zone on the game. Was it the game leading drive in the fourth or the game tying drive? I can't remember, but big catch on that drive. Harvey had some quick outlet catches. This Broncos team lost multiple receivers in this game. They lost Franklin and Pat, I was going to call him Tim Patrick, Pat Bryant. So Bryant and Franklin were out. So that caused the Broncos to have to go in their depth. There was critical plays as well when Buffalo had injured players, like the Dane Jackson rep where he got beat for a touchdown. 0 blitz by Buffalo. Bo Nix tosses it up, touchdown on Dane Jackson. That was big. 2 big plays in this game by the Broncos, the touchdown before the half and that touchdown. Both similar plays. Great, scripted, timely plays by Sean Payton. And I guarantee you Sean Payton, whether it was Sean Payton or Bo Nix, they spotted the backups in the game and they took advantage. And that speaks to Buffalo's talent and roster. You shouldn't have liabilities like that. Any liability like that's going to be taken advantage of in the playoffs. And this is what I say to people that say the Bills' window is closed. I'm a Patriots fan. I disagree. This Bills team this year was like the 15th to 18th most talented team in the NFL. Somewhere in that range. Their pass rush was below average. Their run defense was poor. Their linebacking core was okay. Their secondary was pretty good. Their offensive line is excellent. Their run game is excellent. Their receiving core is far below average. They have an average roster. They have a great quarterback and an average roster. And a good defensive coach. This is the worst Bills roster of the last 5 years. The Bills were crying at the end of the game. Deion Dawkins, Josh Allen. I understand why. They thought it was their year. There was no Mahomes. There was no Lamar. There was no Burrow. But they simply were not good enough. They lost to Miami. They lost to Atlanta. They lost to not very good teams. And in this game, they cost themselves a win. No matter what you want to say about the refs. They turned the ball over 5 times. When you turn the ball over 5 times in a playoff game, you don't deserve to win the game. Unless the other team does that. And then it's kind of equal. We'll talk about that with the Patriots. But I actually thought Josh played really well in this game. Outside of that fumble before the half. The other fumble was Nick Bonito making a great play. And I thought the Bills with poor design on the block, trying to chip him with a tight end. I don't understand that. But the interception to Brandon Cooks was ridiculous. That probably should have been a catch for Brandon Cooks, in my opinion. It's my opinion. That would have ended the game. So it was very close. The Bills nearly beat the Broncos despite 5 turnovers. Matt Prater played well. Will Lutz played well. Both kickers made all their kicks. It is unfortunate to see a game decided by refs. It is. And ultimately, that's what happened. But the game was long decided before that with all the turnovers. And I must say, I give the Broncos credit for one thing. The biggest thing. They didn't run the ball. They passed the ball, and they won. And that to me is impressive considering I didn't think they could win like that in this game. So congratulations to the Broncos. You will be without Bo Nix, but you will be in the AFC Championship. The final game is the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. I hate to say it. I hate to say I told you so, but I told all you jabronis so. And it's funny that by halftime, all the Texans fans were gone out of my chat. But I told you guys exactly what was going to happen. The Patriots were going to shut the Texans down from running the ball. CJ Stroud is the most overrated player remaining in the playoffs. The Patriots were not going to be very successful on offense, but they would create explosive plays, which would be enough to win. The Patriots would have enough of a run game. The Patriots' pressure, pass rush, and secondary would dominate the game, which is exactly what happened. And the Patriots would be far superior as an all-around, well-rounded team than the Texans. That's exactly what happened. See, it's funny. I'm not accurate all the time. I don't make great predictions all the time. But I feel like with this Patriots team, I'm dialed in. Like, I have not been inaccurate one time. I feel like I am dialed the fuck in with the Patriots this year. All season. I don't think you can go back and find a prediction where I was really wrong about anything. I even picked the Bills to beat the Patriots that one week that we lost. I've been dialed in, guys. So for you guys to continue to tune into my content and think that I'm talking out of my ass and to think that I'm saying things that I don't believe when every single time it comes through. Every single time it comes through, it comes true. A 12-point win by the Patriots, although a little bit higher scoring than I expected, probably because of a Marcus Jones pick six that I actually predicted on Bleacher Report, by the way. I predicted a pick six for the Patriots. Other than that, this game was pretty much what I expected. Now, I didn't think Dalton Schultz was going to get hurt, and I didn't think that some of the injuries. Trent Brown, I thought he was going to play. He didn't play. I can't predict that. And I didn't think the snow would have such a big impact, but it certainly did. So the story of the game, first of all, is the slipperiness, the sloppiness of the game. This was a very sloppy football game in ball control. Clearly, it was very hard to hold on to the football in this game. Like, guys were dropping passes. Both quarterbacks couldn't hold the ball or handle the ball. Guys were fumbling the ball left and right. CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions. Almost every single one of them was caused by the Patriots. The only one I could make an argument that wasn't was the first interception that he threw to Carlton Davis, where he just wildly missed. It was interior pressure that caused his feet to be wacky and to miss the throw, but that was the one that was least caused by the Patriots. CJ also threw a high ball to Hutchinson, which was tipped up and intercepted. The Marcus Jones play was 100% forced by the Patriots by the pressure. Now, CJ's got to take that sack. He can't throw that ball. I mean, Carlton Davis, incredible in this game. The Patriots' corners, I don't think they get enough love. It's the best trio of corners in football, by far. Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis, and Christian Gonzalez. They don't get enough love. And the Patriots defense, they told the media after the game, everyone's talking about the Texans. Everyone's talking about Seattle. What about us? What about our defense? And the Patriots have dominated 2 weeks consecutively defensively. They have only allowed 1 touchdown drive in 2 games against 2 playoff opponents that won 11 and 12 games. 1 playoff drive that began in New England territory at the 30 or 35 yard line. That's it. 1 drive. That's it. New England suffocated CJ Stroud. He was 20 for 47, 212. That's 4 yards an attempt. Almost all his completions were underneath or yak. He made a nice throw to Kirk for a touchdown. He hit a big play to Schultz on their first drive for points. Other than that, there was nothing. Patriots blitzed him, confused him, got him rattled, and he threw pick after pick after pick. And he was sacked 3 times, and he had a passer rating of 28. Meanwhile, on the other side, Drake Maye. Too loose with the football. But in my opinion, in this game, the player that caused Drake Maye to have such a poor stat line was Will Campbell. Will Campbell sucked in this game. He was awful. He could not block Will Anderson to save his life. Drake Maye was sacked 5 times. The Patriots had problems with that pass rush. And the snow and the weather only increased the pressure on New England because it was slippery with the football. It was tough to hold on to the ball. And then on top of that as well, it was harder to create anything vertically down the field throwing the ball. So everything was condensed. On top of that as well, the Texans were holding the shit out of the Patriots receivers. And they weren't calling that shit. They called it once, maybe. But Maye still threw the most touchdowns of any quarterback against his defense all year, 3. He had 100 passer rating. The 4th down to Douglas was clutch. The throw to Booty was clutch. He had a scramble or 2 that was key. He made some nice throws to Booty on one drive that really got them started. And he had those 3 drives. The throw to Diggs at the end to seal the game, basically. The throw to Diggs for the touchdown was beautiful. The throw to Booty was beautiful. That one drive, I thought Stevenson played really well. 16 for 70, 4.4 yards per carry. I will say this. The Texans' best defense in football for my money. They did this against basically every elite quarterback this year. Patrick Mahomes had no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, was sacked, had 200 yards or less. Josh Allen was sacked 8 times, turned it over twice. Herbert was sacked 5 times. Every great quarterback the Texans played, they got the best of that quarterback. They did. Maye, though, what I said before the game, what I said in the preview, they're going to hit 2 or 3 big plays. And that's going to be enough. If you would have said New England scored 21 points, they scored 28. If you would have said New England scored 21, I would have said New England won. Because I believed in the defense to take care of business, to dominate this game. And it began with the run game. Woody Marks had 17 yards on 14 carries. That is dominant run defense. Nick Chubb had 3.5 yards per carry, 4 for 14. The Texans collectively ran for 40 yards on 22 attempts for 2.2 yards per carry after rushing for over 170 in Pittsburgh last week. So, is this the competition or is this New England? Because last week against a good front seven, the Texans ran all over Pittsburgh. New England shut them the F down. And that caused pressure on Stroud because he was in 2nd and long and 3rd and long all day. And New England has better corners than the Texans have receivers. And they showed that today. Kayshon Boutte, great game. 3 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown on 5 targets. Phenomenal game, phenomenal catch. He had that one phenomenal drive. Diggs had 4 key catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. Cardi B going nuts. DeMario stepped up with a couple key contributions. He had a big touchdown in this game. I thought Stevenson closed the game out well. I thought to have 4.4 yards per carry, 70 yards on the ground against this Texans D is good, especially when you know that the Patriots are running the ball. So Drake Maye lost 2 fumbles. He fumbled it 4 times. He lost 2. He threw an interception on a Hail Mary, which doesn't count. But he lost 2 fumbles. And Houston turned it over, 5 or 6 times? They turned it over 5 times. New England turned it over 3, but technically 2. New England had more yards. The Texans did have more first downs, and they were also better on 3rd down. Each team was 1 for 2 on 4th. The Texans were 1 for 4 in the red zone, which was big. But New England had more explosive plays. New England had the pick 6. New England had the Boutte touchdown. New England had the Douglas touchdown. New England ran the ball far better. And I never really felt like New England was going to lose. Even at 10-7 Houston, I was like, we've got this game. We've got this game. As long as Drake Maye does not turn it over. And he did. You know, we look at this yards per play for each team, 3.3 versus 3.9. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I've never seen that before. But the Patriots defense showed its worth. It showed how good it is. Because it's a damn good defense. It's a damn good defense. And the Patriots get Mac Hollins back next week, I think, in the AFC Championship. But all I'll say is this to finish it off. This is exactly what I thought would happen. Last week, a little bit lower scoring than expected, but pretty much exactly what I thought the Patriots defense would do to Justin Herbert. This week, exactly what I thought the Patriots defense would do to CJ Stroud. Nearly the game I thought to a T. So all I'm saying is, you may think I'm biased. You may think I'm a jabroni. You may think that I don't know what I'm talking about. But in fact, I do. The Patriots are 16-0 with Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams playing in their games. 16-0 with their 2 best defensive players. They're 16-0. The Patriots play a backup quarterback next week. And I'll say this about Denver. Jarrett Stidham has talent. He started games in the league. He was drafted by the Patriots. He's an okay athlete. He's not Bo Nix. Bo Nix is twitchier. Bo Nix is quicker, more elusive, has a probably slightly better arm. He's more explosive throwing the ball downfield. But Stidham can operate from a pocket. He can throw accurately, probably more consistently than Bo Nix. I wouldn't make that argument. They do have a strong offensive line. But New England's run defense is going to win them this game. If Denver can't run the ball like they did against Buffalo, they're not winning the game. They're not beating New England by only throwing the ball with their backup quarterback. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then on the other side of the ball, it's crazy to say this, but after facing Houston and the Chargers, I kind of think like Denver is the easiest defense they've played. They are really good up front, but we've seen you can run on them. We've seen they give up explosive plays. And New England's really good against man coverage right now. And I think New England, Drake May is going to make them pay. So I would not say this is a cakewalk to the Super Bowl because Sean Payton's a great coach. Vance Joseph's a great defensive coordinator. Denver does have a good defense. Denver has a strong offensive line. Denver, mile high, is difficult to play in general. But New England is undefeated on the road. New England has just as good of a defense as Denver and a far better quarterback. And ultimately, that should be the decision. That should be it. New England should be in the Super Bowl. And like I said for a while now, New England is the most well-rounded team in the AFC and maybe the NFL. So there it is, guys. My thoughts on NFL Divisional Round. If you enjoyed, Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.